Hey there, Mr. Smith here with a little bit of German. Going to look at another poem today. We got a cool piece called Nun Ruhen alle Wälder. Wonderful little piece of text. Good news for you is we're only going to look at the first stanza. It's got several stanzas, but we'll confine ourselves to the first stanza and kind of do some analysis. As always, I want you thinking about how many syllables per line, and also think about not only what it means, but how it sounds. Remember, even if you did not know a single word of German, you can still enjoy the sounds of the poem. All right, here we go. So this guy's name is Paul Gerhardt. Studly looking guy. You can tell by the clothing, a different era. He is going to be known as a composer of music and songs, and we're going to look at one of his songs, but a song is really a poem if you think about it carefully, and a poem is really a song. Paul Gerhardt was born in an area that we today call Sachsen-Anhalt, and grew up there, went to the university there. Later in life, moved to an area called Brandenburg, and did much of his professional work there. He is a Dichter, a poet, and a Komponist, a composer, and I want to come back to that theme. A poem is a song, and a song is a poem. Think about that carefully. Take a song, and you take away the music, you got those words, well, they're a poem. And you take any poem, you just set it to music, and you got a song. Okay, let's take a look at what he actually wrote. Jump in here. Nun ruhen alle Wälder, Vieh, Menschen, Städt und Felder, es schläft die ganze Welt. Nun, now, okay, so nun is a synonym for jetzt, right, now. What's happening? Ruhen, the verb to rest. What's resting? Alle Wälder, all the forests. Vieh is cattle or livestock. Menschen, Städte, right? Städte is cities, plural with the E, but the poet took off the E to get a syllable count. Und Felder, fields. So we have a plural verb, ruhen, and that's because we have more than one subject. Wälder, Vieh, Menschen, Städt und Felder. All those nouns are plural except for Vieh. Cattle or livestock is a singular, grammatically singular word, even though it refers to a plurality of objects. Es schläft die ganze Welt. All right, the whole world sleeps. Normally you might say die ganze Welt schläft. The entire world sleeps. The poet here has added an extra S. Why? It's kind of a style thing, does not change the meaning at all. A lot of times you'll see authors throwing in an extra S, which then technically becomes a second subject for the verb. In any case, die Welt and S are both singular, so you get a singular verb, schläft. Ihr aber, meine Sinnen, auf, auf, ihr sollt beginnen, was eurem Schöpfer wohlgefällt. Ihr aber, but you, y'all, plural, you, my Sinnen, my senses, okay? But not like English. English, we think of senses as the sight, sound, taste, smell, touch. Here, meine Sinnen means more like my thoughts, my reflections. Auf, auf, up, arise. Ihr sollt beginnen. You, my thoughts, should begin. What should you begin? What is it that he's asking his thoughts to do? Was eurem Schöpfer wohlgefällt. Okay, we see the verb gefallen in there. Wohlgefallen, to please greatly. Wohlgefällt, singular, present tense conjugation. To please greatly. Eurem Schöpfer, your creator. Eurem, right? Y'all's, the plural possessive, y'all's creator. The poet took out an E, that's why the apostrophe is there. Normally it's oirem. Oirem kind of a contraction to get its syllable count again. Schöpfer, masculine singular noun, em ending for the dative, that which is pleasing to your creator. That's what you, my senses, my thoughts, my ponderings and reflections should begin. So what's going on here? We got a couple things. We have a partial personification of nature. The forests and fields are resting. Well, you know, they are living beings and they do kind of rest, but it's also sort of like a personification because trees don't really sleep the way human beings sleep, for example. We also have the poet addressing his thoughts. It's kind of an interesting division, but you see this a lot in poetry. Speaking to your thoughts. You, my thoughts, you should begin to do something. In any case, what time of day is this? Right? Pretty obvious. Now the fields and forests are resting. Evening, right? The sun is setting, everybody's getting ready to go to bed, so the poet is saying now is the time for my thoughts to redirect themselves to something grand and noble, something that would please the Creator. Yeah, so keep thinking about this equation. A poem is a song is a poem. That's one of the reasons the syllable count is so important, because each of those syllables is going to transfer into a note of music somewhere. Yeah, so as I said, what we just looked at was the first stanza of a larger work that's got, I don't know how many, 4, 5, 6, something like that, stanzas. And it was, in fact, a song. Our friend here, Paul Gerhardt, he wrote it as a song. It was published with music originally. You're going to find it's a fairly common song. Google it, it'll show up everywhere. Interestingly, a few years later, not long later, after Paul Gerhardt published it, another famous German named Johann Sebastian Bach picked up the song, took Gerhardt's melody, kept the melody the same, but did all the fancy stuff that composers do with arrangements and inversions and harmonies and all that kind of thing. So it is often known as a Bach piece, but it's actually a Paul Gerhardt piece. Anyway, you're going to want to find some good quality recordings of this made by native Germans, so the pronunciation is all real authentic and everything, and listen up to that. As always, count syllables, listen to the sounds of the words. Talk to you later. Tschüss.